Well, good morning. I'm Randy Knox. I'm Senior Director of Global Workplace Solutions at Adobe, and in that role I oversee our real estate, facilities, and physical security worldwide, and I'm also head of environmental programs for the company. I'm glad the weather cooperated this morning and we got a great turnout. And I'd like to welcome everyone to our Adobe San Francisco offices. Most of you probably know Adobe as the maker of Photoshop, PDF, Flash, and many other software tools and technologies that you use every day. What you may not know is that Adobe has also established itself as a leader in operating green and sustainable facilities. Our environmental stewardship goes back to the early 1980s when we instituted a recycling program and alternative commutes. We were also the first company to attain and certify 3 buildings in the LEED Platinum level under the USGBC guidelines. Today we have 11 LEED certifications with 9 of them at the Platinum level. The building you're currently standing in, 601 Townsend, is, to the best of our knowledge, the oldest LEED EB Platinum building certified in the world. Quite a feat and a proud addition to its storied past. One of the few to survive the 1906 earthquake shortly after its construction in 1905. Its consistent ENERGY STAR rating of between 97 and 99 for the past 6 years places it in the nation's top 3% for energy efficiencies. We're very pleased today to provide the backdrop for Mayor Lee as he announces a new law that will indeed promote energy conservation and green leadership by the entire San Francisco business community. I'd also like to invite any of you after the ceremony this morning that would like to see more about our building here and how we run it and maintain our energy efficiency to stick around. We will be offering tours. With that, I'd like to introduce Melanie Nutter, the head of the San Francisco's Environmental Department, for a few words.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Randy, and thank you, Adobe, as well as Cushman & Wakefield, for hosting us here today for this great occasion. This building embodies San Francisco's rich history, from the gold rush to the height of industry to the hub of innovation. So this is really a wonderful spot to celebrate this particular legislation. This building is also a beacon of potential for other existing buildings to follow suit. 2 years ago, San Francisco adopted the nation's highest standards for new green building construction, which requires all new commercial construction to be LEED Gold by 2012. The ordinance resulted from a working group of building owners, managers, architects, financiers, and builders who were tasked with developing green building measures and timelines to put these aggressive measures in place. The Green Building Ordinance assures that our new construction has the highest level of environmental performance, but it didn't do anything about existing commercial buildings. There are substantially more existing buildings in San Francisco than new construction, and the potential for energy savings and greenhouse gas reductions is many times that of new construction alone. And that's why Mayor Newsom formed a similar group to advise on how best to green our existing building stock. Their recommendations are the foundation for the ordinance that's being signed today, which in brief requires commercial buildings in San Francisco over 10,000 square feet to benchmark energy use every year using a free online application that's provided by the EPA. Then, over the course of 3 years, these buildings must perform an annual energy efficiency audit, which will let building owners know the cost of effective actions that they can take to improve their building's performance. And the good news for building owners is that once the audit is complete, the Environment Department's Energy Watch program may be able to provide incentives to get the work completed. Which brings us to why we are here today. Our existing commercial building energy performance ordinance is ready to become law with the stroke of Mayor Lee's pen. The ordinance was crafted with the support of the building industry to make sure it was doable and deliverable, and with our Board of Supervisors to make sure it was ambitious as well as meaningful. So without further ado, I am honored to present Mayor Edwin Lee.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm here with our Department of Environment and also with our Public Utilities Commission, working together with our Board of Supervisors and our office to establish this groundbreaking ordinance. Now, I must say at the beginning, it's called legislation, it's called ordinance, but the real name of it, and it's long, it's Existing Commercial Building Energy Performance Ordinance. That's a mouthful. But I also want to thank members are here from the task force that was created. I want to also thank Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom, because it was his vision when he worked to create this task force with the Board of Supervisors that we did this right. You know, new legislation, sometimes people complain that it's imposed upon us. And if we didn't do this right, you could hear building owners saying, what is City Hall doing again? Well, this is one of those pieces of legislation that has been done correctly because it brought together building owners, building managers, major tenants of these buildings to collaborate with City Hall about what we can do to help reduce the amount of energy we use as a city, to make our city more sustainable. Groups like BOMA, like the Chamber of Commerce, like members of our task force and others, Cushman Wakefield, as we mentioned earlier, all came together with our task force members. And I want to really thank them because it's not easy to put together an ordinance that you get a lot of people to agree, people that might ordinarily not agree to do this. But it's for the sake of the future of the city that we do something about benchmarking our ability to see where we're at, as this ordinance does, and then to have our Department of the Environment work with the building managers as to how to get to gold, and maybe more buildings like this one, how to get to platinum, because isn't that the ultimate goal? And that's why we're here today, is to share the experience that this building is going on. It's not just 601, it's 625 Townsend. It's this little campus that's been created around here where all of the buildings are working together with great on-time information as to how the tenants and the managers of the building and the owners of the property can actually reduce energy consumption. That means we save energy for other valuable uses in the city. So I want to congratulate everyone who's been on here and all the different city agencies. Just want to remember, make sure I got everybody here, and I think I did. But to also thank the cooperation that we've had. I am very happy to be here with Supervisors Chu and Supervisor Wiener, as well as Mr. Knox for this building. Again, to sign off on this very, very good legislation. And it's not an imposition. It's actually a creation that everybody is proud to sign off on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Lee. This legislation did enjoy unanimous support at the Board of Supervisors, which is a testament not only to the merit of the legislation, but to the dedication of the ordinance's co-sponsors. The ordinance was originally introduced by then Mayor Newsom and was co-sponsored by then Supervisor Bevan Dufty. And Board of Supervisors President David Chu also put his name on the legislation to help shepherd it through the new board, which was really a great champion of the legislation. Now please join me in welcoming President of the Board, Supervisor David Chu.
Good morning. Thank you for being part of an announcement of what I hope is going to help anchor San Francisco in the 21st century as one of the top green cities in the world. This is legislation that is going to not just save the environment, but I think is going to be very good for the local economy and the business impact that we have. For the economy, we know that when buildings do energy audits, when they figure out where they can save, they're able to reduce their overhead and use those monies in other ways to turbocharge their growth. We also know that this ordinance is going to help fuel a burgeoning industry of green building auditors, of folks that will assist buildings and figure out where they can be more energy efficient. And I think the environmental impact is obvious. It's been estimated that the commercial buildings in this city account for about half of our city's energy uses. And anything we can do to ensure that our energy is being consumed as efficiently as possible is very important. I want to thank Adobe, not just for your leadership on green buildings, but for giving us the PDFs that all of us use as elected officials, not to have to print pieces of paper out. And I also want to thank the existing commercial building task force, BOMA, the Chamber, for your leadership and your foresight in really being leaders in the business community nationwide and seeing where this should go. Melanie and I referred earlier to the conversation we had at the board to set more ambitious timelines forward. And during that process, I had introduced amendments that frankly shortened the time period of compliance, that required that within 1 year, buildings will have to start doing these audits. And initially, the task force had proposed a 5-year timeline or when the first audits need to be done. This ordinance now has a 3-year timeline when audits need to be completed. I want to thank the building industry for agreeing to meet this ambitious goal, again, to make sure that San Francisco is leading the world in energy efficiency. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to future announcements like this.
Great. Thank you, President Chu. I'd also like to introduce Supervisor Scott Wiener, who, like his predecessor, recognized the importance of this legislation to the well-being of our city as well as its environmental benefits. So please help me in welcoming another co-sponsor, Supervisor Scott Wiener.
Thank you, Mel. Thanks, Melanie. You know, I want to reiterate something that Mayor Lee said about the way we're working at City Hall these days. And in the past, San Francisco City Hall has had a bit of a reputation when it comes to business issues about just proposing things, not always in the most collaborative way, and ramming it down people's throats in the business community as a take it or leave it kind of thing. And this is a great example of what I see as a new spirit in City Hall, and I thank Mayor Lee and President Chu for helping to foster this, of working collaboratively, not just amongst ourselves, but with the community, with people, and with the business community, and really doing this in the right kind of way. So I'm optimistic not just about this legislation and what it means for our green future in San Francisco, but what it means for crafting future legislation that will impact the business community and the city at large. So thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Wiener. The recommendations that are the foundation for this legislation, as you've heard, were developed by the existing commercial building task force. This legislation could have never happened without the support of the building community and these dedicated individuals in particular. There are many representatives of the task force here today. Please raise your hand if you are on the task force. Yes, right behind me here. And please do accept our sincerest gratitude for all of your work and commitment to this legislation. Thank you very much to the task force. And the chair of the task force was Stephen Ring of Cushman Wakefield. Steve, thank you for your contribution and your countless hours that you dedicated to making this legislation the best of its kind nationwide. So please help me in welcoming Stephen Ring.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think everything's been said already. I'm really excited about this. I think this does really represent collaboration between the private and public sector. And all I can say is I love it. I'm excited and proud to be from San Francisco.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Energy efficiency, in addition to reducing our greenhouse gas emissions, simply does make good business sense. Our partners at BOMA manage some of the biggest buildings in San Francisco and can testify to the substantial savings that energy efficiency can bring. So Ken Cleveland is here today from BOMA. Ken, thanks to you as well as to BOMA for being a sounding board for the legislation and for your continued support. So please help me in welcoming Ken Cleveland.
Good morning. BOMA, the Building Owners and Managers Association, has a long history of working with government here in San Francisco. We started working with San Francisco on building a recycling program, a commercial recycling program. It doesn't come off. And now we're working with the city on energy reduction. This program has been a long and successful partnership with San Francisco, and we're very happy that this collaboration has come about. we've worked with the Environment Department, and we've worked with many other departments within city government to make sure that the shoe fits. I mean, BOMA wants to be the shoehorn that makes the new shoe of good practice, good business practices work. And so we're very happy today to be here, to be a partner with the city, to have this collaboration, and we expect the reduction in energy to really be significant across the city as we adopt this new ordinance. Thank you.
And finally, a couple more thank yous before we get to the signing. I wanted to recognize some members of the Green Building program at the Department of the Environment. Debbie Raffel is here, who's the program manager. Rich Chen, who's here. And then finally, Barry Hooper, who really has worked so hard on this legislation. Just wanted to thank the staff for all of their excellent work. And then finally, Johanna Parton with the Mayor's Office, whose leadership played a critical role as well. So thank you, Johanna. So thank you all for coming today. Now we will get to the signing. Mayor Lee?
All right, come on over. Please, as close as possible, all right? Do I get to keep this pen? I've been looking for a good pen. All right. All right, are we ready? Everybody? Okay. There we go. Thank you, everybody. And I want to take up this.